Which means bow, okay, and you get two different kinds of Bushmen, a Ku and a Kwe, okay, and he is a Ku Bushman.
Okay. Ons praat van hierdie oggend van die lewens van Bushmans van altyd hoe ons Bushman geleef het soos vandag.
He is going to share with us how Bushmen used to live, not how they live now.
Okay, maar ek wil dit sê voor ons praat dit van die lewens van Bushmans, ek kan jou dit sê. Ek is baie bly om jou te sien vandag dag in hierdie oggend. Ek is baie bly.
Polis says before he begins, he wants you to know that he's very pleased to be able to see you and talk to you today and share his culture.
Okay. Ander dag julle het my gesien, ek het 'n jean aantrek, hulle het my nie met my geglo, dat kan dit sê ek is Bushmans, nou ons Bushmans ons aantrek so as ons gaan jag.
Okay, you might not have believed that he was a real Bushman the other day when you saw what he was wearing, but he said as Bushmen when they go hunting make you believe that he really is a Bushman, because he could be bluffing you. What could he do to make you believe?
The skills.
Some of the skills, yes.
On his clothes.
His clothes may help you to believe that. Just hey, in the same language, okay.
Okay. Ons Bushmans ons noem ons naam enige ding, boom, gras, toom, palimbo, en wow. Right.
The Bushmen have names. They name their children after anything. Like it could be grass or it could be a stone.
My vriend se naam is Albert. Albert is die klein. Wow.
Okay, he's going to tell us, he's going to have a conversation with an imaginary friend. And his imaginary friend is Akwe, and Akwe means small buck, like a duiker. Okay?
Okay. In altyd ons Bushmans, ons tydig hoor ons Bushman groet mekaar nie met dit, ons sambes groet mekaar met dit, ons.
As we learned, this is how you greeted each other. Right.
Okay, kom ons
hoor listen carefully to the conversation with Akwe.
Amatwan Akwe. Matwan ma. Akwe mtima singa komanunkan. Ngawo mi kanin ke kama sindele. Da kulema akama Akwe. Now, matama Richmond. Da kulema akama now. Akwe matama Richmond. Timbali kajalat Akwe. Kajalan now. Katroteta kajalat kamakwe. Kajalan.
Did anyone understand any of that? What words did you recognize?
Kimberley and Richmond.
Kimberley and Richmond. And now.
Didn't he say that he lives in Richmond?
Yes, that's what he was saying. So, and he's going from Richmond to Kimberley.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Right. Nou ek sien julle glo ek kan dit sê dis Bushman. Right. Nou kom ons maak so as ek praat en Mrs. Top is nou sal baie lank te vat en kan nie onthou dit wat ons gepraat van die lewens van Bushmans. Hierdie wat Mrs. vertel julle van hierdie oggend. Die ding kom by my. Kyk, omdat ons miskien baie keer ons gepraat van die lewens van Bushmans, nou ek weet presies wat ons praat van die Bushmans. Ek weet. Die wat ek praat, dis ek wat praat van hierdie oggend. Jy kan glo, ek kan dit sê, dis ek wat praat. Okay.
Okay, what Polis is saying is that if I have to translate everything he says and we have to tell all the stories and details, we're going to start with how the children grew up. Okay? Now, in the Bushman culture, the children were actually brought up by Granny and Grandpa, not by Mum and Dad. Okay? Mum and Dad were too busy working, hunting and gathering and doing their thing. So Granny, who had more time at home, would look after the girls and Grandpa would look after the boys. And the young boys, Grandpa would teach them how to hunt. And this would be their first bow and arrow, and they would go and practice, and he would teach them about how to make it, he would teach them about how to sharpen it, how to look after it, and how to shoot. Okay? And they would practice those skills and practice, and maybe when they're about 12, they're good enough to get a real bow and arrow, a bigger one. Because these ones are just more like toys. Now the girls, they would have go with Granny and they would get a digging stick, alright? And they would be taught with Gran about which plants give you medicine, which plants are poisonous, because they would have to make the poison for the bows and arrows when the men went hunting, which plants they could eat, which ones were the best, the healthiest one, and they would go and learn all about the gathering side of things. Okay, so guys, the first arrow, or one, no, let's go with these ones first. Okay, so there you are. Now I want to ask you, they didn't always have metal. What would they have used before they had metal for their arrow tips?
Stone.
Stone and? Bone. Yes, sharpened bone. All right, and then where do you think they got these metal tips from when there was metal around? No, they might have salvaged some for that had been thrown away. Guys, what would happen was that, you know, there were Europeans coming in and settlers coming into Africa, and they would bump into the Bushmen, and they might say, hey, but I can't get myself any meat. Won't you please? I need some meat. I need a buck. Will you go and shoot me a buck? And they would trade metal for meat in the bush with no money. No money at all. Everything they need, they would be able to make. All right? Out of what they get. And they never wasted anything. And to this day, Polis never wastes anything. Don't shoot because it's fun. It's not a sport for them. They would shoot the animal that they needed to eat. All right, and they wouldn't go and shoot a young female, because that young female is going to produce babies one day, and that's going to sustain them. So they would be sensible about which animals they shot. Okay, and also they would never be cruel. And like for instance, if they shot a buck and it didn't die, they wouldn't just let it run off into the bush, wounded. They would track it until they found it. And then they would kill it quickly as soon as they could so that it didn't suffer. So that was a way of life. Out of necessity, they shot what they needed and used that. Now, what they found was that this type of arrow, sometimes the buck would take longer to die because it would just bleed. All right. So maybe it runs off and it takes all day to track it. All right. So they decided they needed to get an arrow that was going to be more accurate and kill the animal straight away, so that it was not as cruel, and also they didn't have to waste their time. From the hide of an animal, and on here they would look. Poison won't stick on metal, will it? Okay, it's watery, it's liquid, it's just going to come off. So they wrapped that twine around there so that when they dipped it in the poison would stay on that twine. All right. And you get different kinds of poison. I want you to think about what they would make their poison from. Roots. Okay, plants. Generally, plant. Term is a quiver. A quiver. All right. A quiver. Remember it, eh? Quiver. So if Polis goes and puts all his arrows in here together, and he's got his poison arrows in there, and look, this is something else he's got in his quiver. This is a drinking straw. If he puts his drinking straw next to his poison arrows, what's going to happen?
Poison.
Okay, he's going to possibly poison himself. All right. So what he does is he has a little container which he has made. All right. Which is made out of bone. He has the horn of a wildebeest. Okay. Skin of wildebeest, and the poison arrow goes in there.
That's so clever.
And there you are. Now his poison arrow is not mixing up with his other things. All right, so that's half of wildebeest horn. All right. So there you go. That's the poison arrow one. And then there is. We'll get back to the water straw just now. Okay. The last arrow. And what do you think this one is maybe used for? Snakes. Exactly. Imagine trying to shoot a snake with this. Right? It's not really going to go in. The snake will slither away. Hey. So this would be shot aimed at the head, behind the head of the snake, and it would break the snake's spine, I guess, and kill it. And you know, some snakes they would eat. But often it would be in defense. If they saw a dangerous snake, they would shoot that if it was coming for them. But guys, this is also used for, it could also be used to break a bird's legs. Okay? Alright? And
skiet en sit in die sesap.
Yeah, okay. I'll tell you about the other arrows just now. But guys, yeah, a little bird's legs, if you like a hardy dog, you shot it at its legs, it would break them as well. So it was quite useful for different things. But also, this was used, this doubles up as part of the snake bite venom kit, snake bite kit. Watch what you do with this one. All right, if you get, remember, if you're out in the bush, there's no doctor anywhere near, there's no hospital, there's no chemist, and you get bitten by a very poisonous snake, you've got to act quickly, because you can't just catch a taxi to the closest place. You have to sort your problem out. So the Bushman had to know what to do if they were bitten by a snake, and Polis is going to explain. Okay, we're going to imagine that this is Polis's leg. Miskien kan ek dit doen of nie? Jy kan dit ook kan dit doen.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Come here, Mr. There.
Yeah.
Okay, because he hasn't got his top one. Come. Right.
Right. Yes, no say, full.
Okay, come turn. Let's turn here. Okay. You can imagine you've been bitten here. All right, by a snake.
Yeah. No.
You're going to be bitten at the bottom and your ankle. All right.
Spoes wel, enige ding ons kan weggooi. Right. Enige ding het sy werk. Right.
Everything has, remember I said nothing gets thrown away. So there's the top of the wildebeest horn. Look, remember we had the half of it earlier?
Yeah.
Okay?
Nou, die plek, except die gom.
Okay, on the top,
Porcupine called it.
Sag is.
the honey, the bees wax, okay? You would use at the top. It's hollow, that horn, guys.
Okay. Nou, elke keer moet eistervak sê, hoor ek sit. As ek sit die stok, miskien sal breek, dat ek kan nie die man gou help. Ek kan nie daarby te trek en uit die trek daar kan nie pas. Alright. Sit hierdie in as ek breek, ek kan maklik uitkom.
Okay, he's using a porcupine quill as a stopper. Okay, he's going to try and turn that into a thing that you can create a vacuum with. All right, so he doesn't want to just use an ordinary stick, it might break in there, and then he's got trouble trying to get it right. So he uses that porcupine quill.
Okay, nou, ek snit clean plek.
They would cut
Naby mekaar of 4 plek.
4
naby mekaar.
little cuts there. We're going to pretend, okay, not really.
Okay, nou ek sny. Dat hom so.
Holds the skin up and cuts.
2, 3, 4. Okay, nou okay. Nou die bloed kom uit.
Now the blood will be coming out there in
Bloed
those
kom so
little cuts.
dik uitkom, nie baie uitkom.
Just a little bit, not deep cuts, guys, just a little bit.
Nou as ek het water ek maak nat,
You'd make it wet with water if you had.
kan sit dit.
Okay.
En ek pom. As ek pom en as dit vas is, ek maak toe met my tand.
Okay.
En ek dink dat
So he's going to suck on that now to try and create that vacuum, all right?
Okay.
It might be uncomfortable, but it won't be sore.
You might pass out.
Okay, nou is dit oop.
Why don't we do the
Let's
proper
see.
cuts?
Okay, nou is dit toe. Okay, maak.
All right. Now what's going to be happening?
Okay.
What's
Nou.
what's going to happen in there?
Okay.
What's going to go in there? The blood
Nou as ek
and the poison, guys. All the poison is draining into there.
okay, as ek vol is, loop af. Right.
When it's full, it's going to fall off.
Okay. As is nie,
You would do that 3 or 4 times to get, guys. When you know when it's time to stop, because the blood is going to change color. When our blood's got poison in, what color do you think it is? Blackish. It's not nice and red. Our blood now, if we just bleed, it's nice and red. So you wait. You do it 3 or 4 times until there's nice, fresh red blood coming out again. If you do it 6 times, what's going to happen? You're going to pass out.
en as hy nie val is, dan sê ek uit. Okay.
Okay.
Maar die bloed, en sien die bloed en nog weer sit.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you.
Weet die gif, hoe lyk die gif? Jy kan nie net uithaal en uithaal en uithaal en nou klaar die bloed van die man, en ek sien die man staan nou die uithaal. Nou, ek sê, hierdie slang is baie groot. Dus hoe kom het ek doodgemaak? Baie groot. Nou ek het die probleem van dat Islam.
Okay.
Islam se probleem. Dus ek weet niks. Ek doodgemaak.
Not anyone can do it because you've got to know, otherwise you're going to think that if you do it too many times and the guy passes out and dies, it's not because of the snake, it's because you've taken all his blood out of his body. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Ons gesien van die stroomte water te drink. Kyk, ons kry baie boom wat groot is en die klein is en my die kry kan nie dat ek pas dan ek drink saam met hierdie stroom. As ek kry die ene wat baie oop is vat my Jäger.
Okay, so guys, you get trees. Now you're probably thinking, well, where do you get water from trees? But you know, he's talking about those old trees, and maybe baobab. Some of you have seen how, or I mean, you've got a hollow in the tree, and then the dew and everything else. The water collects in the hollow tree. All right. Now, some hollow trees might have a little entrance, and some might have a bigger one. So, if it's a little entrance, you can put your straw down in there and suck up the water, or you would use. This is his cup that he's made, all right? Okay, and you'd be able to... Now also, where else would they get water from? Guys, water is like essential. For a Bushman, water is your main, most important thing that you can hope for.
And you dig underneath the ground.
You would dig down in the sand and you can have it very deep. That's what the elephants do too, all right? And you put the straw down, right down into the hole, and you can drink from there, or you can put your cup in. Now, well, let's see what the cup's made from. Okay?
Monkey fruit.
From blue gum. Okay. I don't think you'd have many blue gums where they live, but yes, from the bark, like we had yesterday when we were the other day. All right. Okay. Any other water ideas before I... Yeah? Now? And they don't know, this is the first time they've been in this area. How are they going to know where there's water? Well, you're going to give me, who can tell me that answer to that question? They've never been in an area and they don't know where the water is. How are they going to know, figure it out?
They found a big or good tree.
Yes, but if you can't see any trees and you've just arrived now and you want to try and figure out where the water is.
Mist.
Sorry? Mist? Yeah, maybe. Ah. You look for the paths of the animals. Or you look for the birds flying. If there's a flock of birds flying, they're on their way to the water. Polis? Okay? So if there's a whole group of birds flying, you watch them and watch them, they're going to look for water. If you see one or two birds flying away, they're coming from the water. It's made from, obviously now Polis has got wool here, but in those days they would have used hide, made twine with the hide. And remember now, he's cut off the top. I want you to remember because he's used that for something else, all right? But he would make his little cup. There you are. He's got his water. So that's a very important thing. Now, guys, the other thing, I don't think Polis has got his ostrich egg. I think he needs a new one. I'm going to have to bring him a new one. But obviously, ostrich eggs could be used for storing water as well. So they put the same thing. They put a little string on the ostrich egg, and you know what Polis tells me is that those act like a flask. Okay, so in other words, even on the hottest day, inside the ostrich egg is going to be cold. It's got almost like a lining. The egg has got like a lining, like the inside of our flask. Okay, so it keeps the water cold. And one ostrich egg, guess how many people could eat from an ostrich egg?
8.
But a little bit more even. They didn't just eat to fill themselves because, this is nice food, okay? They ate what they needed. Just enough energy to keep them going and until the next meal. All right, so one ostrich egg, 12 people.
Ja, het lijkt niet zoals hoe men zegt eiers. Als je het geëerd, misschien zo half. Van je alleen, je zal baie water drinken. Je zal baie vlees.
It's very, very filling and it's also rich. So you wouldn't want to eat more than just a little bit because you actually almost start to feel, a little bit sick. You've got to drink a lot of water and you feel uncomfortable. You wouldn't be able to go hunting if you ate half an ostrich egg. Okay, you wouldn't be comfortable. All right, and guys, when they go and get those ostrich eggs, this is also quite interesting. They got to suss that old Mrs. Ostrich out because she lays her eggs. Have you ever? I'm sure you probably know this. Just on the earth, eh? Okay. Okay. So she lays them on the earth, and then she goes off. She doesn't need to keep her eggs warm. She'll go off and forage for food, and until the egg is getting nearly ready. Like an ostrich egg, I think will take about 3 weeks to hatch.
En als we beginnen om te leren van jullie Belimbo, als je gaat samen met jouw opa, ons kan niet met alle boom zijn water drinken. Daar is een ander boom van die water als je drinkt, maar je ziet, je mag pijn en chopkaart met jouw maag. En jouw opa zegt voor jou, die boom, je moet niet die water van die boom drinken. Je kan jullie boom drinken. Weet alle boom wat je zegt.
Okay, so Grandpa would warn you about which trees you can get water from and which not. Remember how we were talking about the blue gum and you can drink that water out of there? That's fine with that tree, but you can't just go to any tree and take water from it because it could make you sick. All right, it could be poisonous. All right. Now, guys, when you go hunting, as I said, this is how Polis would go hunting. Now he might shoot a bug and it's injured and he's got to go and track it through that little bit of forest over there, and he's going to have to cut a little path through there because the bug's stuck inside. This is the only tool that he takes along, apart from his bow and arrow, and it does everything he needs. Okay? So it's a chopper to chop wood, but it can also be a knife and it can also be a hoe to dig a hole if he needs water. And he's going to show us how it changes into a hoe. All right. So can you see it's the shape of a bird's head? Imagine a bird's head. And this is the back of the head and this is the forehead. So watch what he does here. Okay, he wants to take the blade out. Now, guys, you're not going to just point it towards yourself because then that blade's going to cut you. So you point it away and you hit it on its forehead. Be able to come out. Alright, so you hit it on his forehead. Now you want to make it into a hoe. You're going to hit it on the back of his head. Alright. And now you can okay, now you can sharpen or you can dig a hole. You can take the skin, the hair off the skin.
En ons kan is uit haar jaar en nou zet die olie van die boom, ons krijgt de olie van die boom, ons nou zaag om de rest te krijgen.
When you use the hide to make a blanket or clothes or whatever, you would take the hair off and you would take oil from a tree to soften it. But to take the hair off, you need a tool. And this is a pinnacle for holidays. Can you try and pull it out? Okay, no, we're not going to get it out. Okay, so now, guys, it's time for Polis to go hunting again. Alright, gives it a good knock on the forehead again. And there we go. Nice and safe, off he goes. Why are you doing that? Guys, by the way, this is grass. I don't know if you picked that up. We don't get grass like this very thick, or maybe some, but not quite as thick. Right, they have very thick grass and it's hollow. Okay, so you get a piece of grass.
Ons het gewoon gepraat van die skip, nou is nog te groot. Nou je skip die eiland. Nou je kan van Bushman, als je skip die eiland dan kan je kan je skip, je kan kies die vrouw. Okay, of je geeft voor jou die vrouw.
Okay, guys, when you first of all, to shoot an eland is like coming of age for the boys. This is like the beginning of their life. It's a celebration. Okay, and Polis says you can get to choose your wife after that. Okay, so you have a big party and a celebration, and the whole tribe will celebrate with you. You will go to the place where the eland was shot. The whole tribe will go. And they will make big fire, and they're going to have a party that night to celebrate.
Right.
First eland.
Nou, misschien als je oma misschien ook is voor je op die vrouw zijn oma, je zit samen en praat samen, en praat, en meestal zullen zitten en luisteren. Oké, die man en ja, misschien, bok en maak die kombers en schiet eiland, ons kan een vrouw geven, nou, ons kan die man geven. Je zit en luisteren, misschien die ene zegt nee, sit and lay still. Right.
All right. So, guys, what happens is, traditionally, Granny chooses your wife. Okay. So they will be watching. They'll be discussing who is which man is a good hunter, makes good blankets, and looks after his family, his parents. Okay, and they will sit around the fire and discuss, and the girls are listening and thinking, okay, maybe that one, and they chat about it as a community. All right, the old ladies, can you imagine? Yeah, right. All right. Boys do the same. They're looking at the wives, the ones that are good at cooking, future wives. Can be little guys. Still little, and Granny's choosing your wife. She's just a young girl, and then that girl's going to grow up well. She's taught how to cook nicely. She gets the right food. She's always cheerful. So Granny's watching. Granny's watching.
Right. As I kies voor jou, ons maak vir jou die nippels om te dra met jou neer.
So Granny will, if she's now chosen a wife that she thinks will be good for you, she makes a set of necklaces. Okay? Now Polis hasn't got his on today. Sometimes he's wearing one. Okay? And they present that necklace to they go to the granny of the little girl, and they say, we'd like to book this little girl of yours. Okay? And she gets a necklace. Okay? Say she's booked.
Right.
And that's how Polis got his wife, by the way. His granny chose his wife for him.
Right. And now, en misschien is hij vroeg mij, mijn oma geeft voor mij, ik zoek een vrouw, nee, ik kan niet zelf kiezen.
Sometimes the men are a little bit rebellious, and they say, they can't have that woman.
Okay. Now, I said, de persoon misschien, ik heb mijn vrienden gesproken. Ze zegt, kijk bij, Messi, is zoek voor mij. Kijk, als hij zegt, misschien is nou, als twee praat elkaar, als je, misschien jouw vrienden zijn, lieg. Misschien is zoek voor mij.
Okay, so they will get the boys. Guys, you must remember this community, the boys and girls don't mix. The only time they really get, because remember the boys are with grandpa and the girls are with granny, and they're all doing their own thing. At night time they have two separate fires, one for the boys, one for the girls. So you see each other over the fire. And you go, hey, she's checking me out. I think she might be quite keen. Okay. But they don't get together and have a good old conversation, not like we do these days. All right, so that's how it was. So then the man had to pluck up enough courage. Now let's hear what he's going to do.
Right. Nou, ja, goed, die boos. Pas kan hij al twee gaan maken die palimboki. Dat is maar klein palimboki.
So they make a love bone. Okay. All right. And this one doesn't shoot, but it's like an ornamental one. But what they would do is the little arrow, they would get a little bit of poison. Now, not poison that's going to kill anyone, poison that makes you itch. You know, like when you go past a bramble at Jigijola?
Oh my gosh.
And they put a little bit of that poison on the end here. Now, guys, the girls would dress just like Polis. Young girls would dress just like Polis, okay? And their buttocks are revealed here. Okay, they don't have anything on their tops until they're married. Once they're married, then they start putting something on their tops as well. All right. So now they go around and around the fire, and they check the girl out that they've actually like got an eye, and then that's the one that's the one I really want. And they take the little love bow with the poison arrow, and they would shoot her in the bum. Okay. in the yeah, shoot it. So the arrow would stick there, oh, and the girl, and she would look around if she's not too dumb. Sometimes people think it's like a bee sting or something. But if she's sharp, she's going to say, there's a boy after me. And she'd look into the crowd of boys. And if it's a boy that she likes, she will look to the east where the sun rises with a big smile and go, "Mwah!" and run off to Granny. But if it is a boy that she doesn't like, she's checking out. Now he's watching as well, sort of through his, like, you know, trying to not make it obvious. If it's a boy she doesn't like, she's going to look to the west with a big frown on her face and say, "Ah!" and run off. Okay, so that's how he knows if he's accepted or not. So now he's watching, and if she's looking to the east, he thinks, yes, I'm in, I'm okay, I've got my, and she goes to ask Granny. But of course, if he gets the west look and the frown, he pretends it wasn't him. Okay, and he goes muddles with the boys, and he says, "No, that wasn't me you shot her." All right, so it's a big, and that I suppose is the beginning of their courting. Because once, now of course, the little girl will go home to Granny and say, "Hey, the boy shot me, and it's itchy," and Granny would sort it out and give her a bit of TLC and find out who the boy was. And if Granny is happy with that boy, then Granny will go and negotiate with the family. Right, let's listen.
Ander school heeft mij gevraagd, ander dag. Hulle vra vir my, wat maak hier as ek kom en ek kom staan en miskien ek staan en skiet die, my skies en skiet en ek sien ek skiet en my pyl gaan en skiet die ene wat ek wil nie hê.
What happens if by mistake the arrow shoots the wrong girl? Ish!
Right. Nou as jy sien die ding so gebeur is, jy moet nie staan en kyk vir hom. Right. Die traditioner sê as jy skiet hom en die pyl gaan skiet met die wat jy wil nie hê nie, gooi weg met jou pylbootjie en jou vriende julle kan weghardloop.
For those of you who didn't understand, if it's shot the wrong girl by mistake, you don't hang around. You just throw everything and run. So they won't guess it was you. Okay.
Right. Right. That's onwettig. Jy kan nie ander proef skiet wat jy wil hê.
Right. So imagine that, guys, having to have Granny choose your wife.
She could not
Very
Mostly not, hey. But you remember, guys, what you must remember is that these families grow up very closely together. In a tribe, you've got maybe 3 or 4 families. Miskien hoeveel familie bly in dieselfde
Hazel.
Ja, binne by die.
Ja, as jy sien ons bou groter huis op en as jy sien hoeveel kinders het jy nie. Of 2 of 3 bou groter huis.
Nee, Polis, ek
by die gesinne.
Ja.
Ons bly as ons sien ons is baie is. Ons kan nie, ons wil nie hê dat ons huis kan baie ver mekaar staan. Okay. Miskien ons maak miskien ander groep. Miskien jy gaan saam met jou oom bly of jou oupa bly sprei uit mekaar. Ander het hulle sê hy is miskien so 17 mense daar so of 5 mense daar of 3 mense in. Maar as ons
verskillende familie.
Ja, verschillende familie. Is nie regte familie. Ja, as jy het 16 dan jy kan in plek bly. En as jy het nie van jou nog die familie van is nie jou net miskien jou vriend. En ek bly met hulle se kant.
Okay. So you didn't have too many people living in one area, maybe 16 to 20, I guess. Sometimes just your family, sometimes some of your friends as well. I suppose what happened was you got together with another bit of a tribe over there and you would have your evenings together.
En nog onthou daar by ons, daar by die oorkant, by ons is baie leeu's, right? Nou as ons sien so, die plek is baie leeu's, ons kan nie mekaar sprei mekaar. Okay, ons bly julle gesin. Almal bly saam.
Okay.
Of daar is die probleem as die leeu kom dan die mens kan help mekaar.
So there used to be a lot of lines around there, so they didn't want to be too spread out. because then you got trouble when the lions come. So they would stay fairly close to each other, within a range, so that they could help each other if the lions come.
Okay, right now.
Just to remind you.
Nou ons kan uithaal. Right, nou ek maak miskien my werk. Right.
Okay, it's going
met
a trap. He wants to make a trap.
Of my bok te vang, okay. Nou.
Because we're going to see the traps outside just now.
Would you ever use that other piece for anything else?
This bark, Polis, net wat doen jy met die gooi weg? You can't use it.
Is nie baie sterk.
For niks ander ding wat jy kan doen. Nothing else you can make with it.
Okay.
Good question, because we did say they didn't throw anything away. That's obviously a bit useless that now. Okay, remember you roll it down your leg, because I'm sure some of you are going to want to try this again when you go home. Okay.
I can't do it on my legs.
Then together, down and up.
Okay, nou is het klaar. Kan, nog in kan, nog weer in kan, weer in kan. Maar misschien is het genoeg af en op.
Okay, down and up. It's going to make the noose to show you.
Af en op. Af en op. Oké, nou is het genoeg. Kijk.
I'm going to make it a bit longer. Guys, remember I said at the beginning there were two types of Bushmen, the full and the square? That's their speciality, is trap making. Okay, Polis's tribe, they are very good at shooting bows and arrows. So they have a different way of catching their prey.
But man, they're still good at making traps.
Yes, they can still make traps, but they don't use it as much. I guess also it's in the areas that you are, because the traps, you would need more trees around, because you set your trap in amongst the branches and the, yeah. Okay.
Okay, now, from the bar, come so.
Okay, so we'll see this when we go outside. Put it in the animal's path.
Okay, set twist up.
And you put sticks next to it. And then, okay, and then there you go. With time.
Die boom wat jy vasmaak. So boom, sterk boom. Okay. Maak vas met tyd, net door.
Okay, you would cut a branch and stick it in the ground next to, and you tie it onto the rope. Okay? And then as the animal goes through, what's going to happen to that stick? It's going to pull out. And it's going to be whacking, as the buck runs, that stick is following him, catching him here on the legs, making him a bit scared.
As I come by the boss, now stop. And the dog spread and and go out.
Okay. And it's going to die quickly because of what happens is this, can I just explain for this? When it's tied to that, guys, they'll do it in a path where there are two trees very close together. So this will get caught on the trees if you follow me. So as a buck runs, okay. So as the buck runs now, this is round the buck's head. As the buck runs, this is going to get caught on the trees here. So it pulls and it's going to die from suffocation quickly. So that's, see, it dies quickly. It's not, you know guys, people in South Africa set snares all the time. But that's a little bit different to what they used to do. Because first of all, I mean, the other night, a couple of years ago, not recently, I was driving home.
Okay, now.
And and I came across a buck in the road. And it wouldn't move, and I hit it. And when I got out to see why it was so slow, and I was very sorry because I hit it, it had a noose around its neck from a snare, but it hadn't died yet. So in other words, it had been slowly suffering, and it was nearly dead. We don't know how many days it had had that around its neck. very, very cool way of killing an animal with a snare. This, can you see the difference? It's going to die very quickly because it's going to get caught on trees. Okay, so snares are the worst thing. If you ever see a snare, you take it out and get rid of it.
Okay, now, I said the skin then me, alright, and the method of first mark. Now the skin at first mark is so pretty pen.
Guys, if the Bushman is inexperienced and he ties the knot up here, is it going to have the same effect? No. Can you see it's just going to follow him? It's not going to, it's going to have that round its neck and it's going to be like the one that I did. It's not going to die quickly. Okay, so that's no good. Experience. Thinking about, once again, being very observant, thinking about what's going to be the best thing, quickest way to kill that animal.
Right.
Okay, guys, this is what we've seen. We saw how Polis made the rope, and he is going to do it again. But what I want you to think about now is that back in the day, when Polis was growing up and when the children grew up, they didn't have soccer balls and TVs and any of the things that we entertain ourselves with today. So they would make up games that would entertain them. And they would hone their skills and compete against each other. Clever, and make a little song and sometimes a dance to go with, and that's how they entertained each other. Alright, so in this rope making activity, they would maybe be 4 or 5 boys sitting in a row. Okay, and they're going to say, right, who's going to make, we're going to have a competition, we're going to have a set time, let's see who's going to make the longest rope in that time. Okay, so they would sit and they would start.
Right, now what's bahan? Now
he's watching his mates and he sees that they're going very quickly, so now he's going to think of a way of how to confuse them.
Now
Wants to try and put them off.
Okay. Nou ek sê stop, kom ons maak so, kom ons tel. Ons sê kan my katja kakao, soos daai dag ons het gehoor. Kan
So
my
he says,
katja
let's cut,
kakao.
let's sing of it as we go.
Okay. Sê kan my katja kakao.
Say it with me. Kane kacau kakao. Kane kacau kakao.
Alright. Now, as it was almal sê kan my katja kakao. Nou ek sê net maak ook vandag nou ek sê okay. Nou ek sê vir hulle twee. Okay, ek tel hard daar. Laat ek kan my luister en ek change my tel.
So he's tricking them.
Okay. As ek sê kan my katja kakao, kan my katja kakao, kakao katja kan my, kakao katja kan my, kan my katja kakao. Right.
So instead of 1, 2, 3, he's going 3, 2, 1 or 2, 3, 1. He's going to change the tune, and they're like going to say what? And they're going to drop time, aren't they? Okay.
Okay. Nou kom ons maak so ons stil en jy luister my. As ek draai, kan ook draai die talent, okay? Right. Kom ons sê kan my katja kakao en jy luister vir my, right? Jy ook kan harder te sê dit as jy sê kan my katja kakao, jy ook sê weer kan my katja kakao. As jy sê kakao katja kakao, jy nog weer daar kom, right?
Okay, let's count the posts.
Kom ons kyk. Kan my katja kakao. Kom vandag. Kan my katja kakao. Kan my katja kakao. Kan my katja kakao. Kakao katja kan my. Kakao katja kan my. Right. Nou wat maak hier as ons sit almal en maak dit nou hulle eers luister vir my en dan ek worry nie omdat ek harder tel. Kakao katja kan my. Kan my katja.
He's going to be going fast because he knows what he's saying.
Kan my luister. Oh, kakao katja kan my. Nou ek sien as hy luister vir my en hy begin kakao katja kan my. Ek los kakao dan ek kom kan my katja kakao. Right. Nou let's set in Japan.
Guys, all the time he's feeding the rope into a pile where the others can't see. Okay, so he's got his pile going and going, and then when he's finished, he'll say, when he's gone and he's happy with his pile, he'll say, right, stop. But in sign language, what's stop, Polis?
Kani.
Kani. Kani.
Yeah, kani. Okay. Stop. Kani. Now let's go. Now accept. Now accept. Okay. Yes, the man can say. And
then they have their competition, they take in turns to pull out their ropes and compare it.
Okay, hier. Ik ga misschien een beetje lang. En ik zeg, kom ik zie, nee. nou my stek lang. Nou ek dink
He's going to have one longer one.
Ek maak vanaand steeds dit toe. Ek maak nie vanaand steeds dit toe. Ek het gebel. Nou hulle sê nee, jy maak ons mekaar dus.
So don't forget games they used to play. What other games, while he's finishing that off, what other things would they have done, do you think?
Competitions.
Like what? Okay. Using stones. They also will look, okay, I'm just going to
Dan kyk, enige ding wat ons eet, ons kan nie weggooi.
there you are, there's the top of his monkey apple.
Right.
And guys, spinning tops were a big thing, eh? You had competitions with them. Not only for which one spun the best or the longest, but which one danced the best. Because some of them were wobbly and some of them, and they would give them names as women. Okay, now that woman of yours is no good. Okay, she dances slowly, or whatever it was. Okay, so they would use these as they didn't have dolls or anything like that, but they would give names to their little spinning tops and things. Where could you get them now?
So miskien hy dans. Okay, dans. Nou ons sing.
Okay, they're going to sing when they have these spinning tops going.
Okay, nou ons sing. As ons dans, ons sing. Ons speel ook, ons sing. As ek sien my ons al twee sê dis kou, nou ons maak en ek sien wie sy syne was eerste geval.
They see who's going to fall first, and so that's a competition they would have as well.
Right. Miskien ons sê katago of daar's baie sin. Miskien ons sê nambali sa. As ek moeg dan ek sê ta. No? Va. Right. Kom ons kyk.
Okay. So they can answer fine.
Tago, tumigo. Right. Miskien eerste dag, as ek het 'n klein boek geskiet om my op die dans vir.
Okay. So when you shoot your first buck, Granny makes you a special dancing outfit. All right. And it makes a noise. Instead of having instruments, you have a noisy outfit. What more can I say?
Yeah.
And it straps here. All right. The boys have this. The boys dance with their legs, and the girls with their shoulders.
Okay. Right. Nou, professor, vir om te dans.
See, it makes a noise.
Tago. Let's say as jy start vat loop met die arm, jy word strak. So, kan hom word. Right. Nou, jou ouma kan loop, maak vas. Jy dan wat jy dans by eiland.
Shut your back. Granny's made your outfit. You're going to have a celebration around the eland, remember? Okay, so the boys take their new outfits. All right, and off they go. And they've got a fire for the boys and a fire for the girls, the women and the men as well. They don't all socialize around the same fires. The girls will watch the boys dance. Okay, the boys dance, and then the boys will watch the girls dance.
Okay, now it's at this dance. Sal eerst dans, jy kan my sien, as ek klaar gedans, ons almal dans.
Okay, we're all going to dance, okay, but we're first going to watch Polis dance, and then he says he wants you to join him in the dancing. Right. Watch carefully, because you're going to do it.
Right. Now.
Great. That woman's got a bad leg.
Okay.
That's the table, I think.
Now,
she's out of practice.
Now dance, alright. Now you're doing dance, okay.
Oh! Watch your leg, watch your leg. What? Did you see the top weight? Okay, right, come, guys, stand up. There you go. That's right. will not take. And you know, when they went out hunting, guys, they would know that it could be dangerous and they might not return. They would face that reality every day they went hunting. Because if the lion saw them before they saw the lion, that could be their last day. So it was a thing they didn't do lightly. They would leave, they would prepare themselves well for hunting. Alright? And they would go out, and obviously they'd had all the years growing up with Grandpa learning the skills, and then they would go with an older man. Alright, so Polis would go with his friend Akwe, and they couldn't just walk into the bush and say, hey, you know what? No, there's a buck over there. They would have signs so that they would quiet. And they would know about the wind and which way it was blowing so that it didn't blow their scent into the animals. They would walk around. So they did all that. But the sign language is what Polis is going to show you now.
Nou, ek loop. Nou, as ek sien die diere, ek kan so staan en loop soos mens het gesê.
See how your body is, how you're standing. You're not going to be up there standing just ready to pounce, ready to duck, and you're not just up where the animals can see you.
It is nou, nou ek sit up where I see from ek sê.
Getting Akwa's attention.
Ek sê stop.
That's his hand. There's a buck. Over there. Sit down.
Right. Nou ek gaan skiet. Akwa, ek kan hom nie sien. Right. Nou ek kyk, ek kan hom sien ook. Ek sê.
Awesome.
Ek sê. Stand up.
Stand up. Let's loop. Let's walk. Let's loop.
Right.
Loop.
Okay, nou, kom ons sien. Okay, julle kan my nou sê wat die diere het gesien, okay?
You're going to interpret his hand signals.
Okay.
Like he's just done stop or that.
Okay. Julle sê net
and you're going to guess which animals he's seen.
Almal kan sê, okay. Right. Nou ek loop, ek sê die bal, stop.
Stop. What's this animal? Giraffe. Over there.
Sit down.
Hey. Now.
Stand up.
Okay. Now ek loop.
Stop.
No. Yes. Kudu.
Okay.
Big ears and curly horns.
Okay. Voor ons.
Over there.
Okay. Ek kan die boks sien, miskien kon ek sien, ek wil weet. Een hand. Okay, ek sal nie sê. Stop, ek wil en ek kom weg in die pellenboot en ek maak so en maak so.
Can't put everything down to show with two hands. Okay, because then he's put down his bow. So he just uses one hand to show the horn.
Okay.
Alright.
Ek wil weet, hy sal my laag as ek maak so, right. Go.
Let's go.
Right, nou ek loop.
Stop.
A buck with two long horns.
Groot en spons.
Springbok.
Springbok.
Eland.
Eland.
Okay, ek sê.
Stop. Eland. Then red. Stop.
Okay. Kom ons sien. Nog een. Daai een ek kan nie langer wees. Moet so staan. Ek kan nie korter wees. Ek kan my mooi sien. Right.
Stop.
They terrified of elephants. All the big five, guys.
Hardloop. Mooi staan. Of ek so vinnig hardloop, gaan ek huis toe.
Is he going to run home with an elephant?
No.
No, why not?
Kom.
Because the elephant will swallow him home.
Okay.
So he doesn't want to take the elephant home.
Ek gaan weggaan en
He's
omloop.
going to go walk around a different way.
En
Run.
nog dan, ek kan nie sê stop vir ek afwy en ek staan lang tyd, miskien 10 minute en maak. Right.
This is one that you are quick to react to, guys, because if an elephant sees you, if there's a herd of elephants there, and you are in their way, and it sees you or senses you, because it's got those big ears, remember, it will charge.
Okay, now
Right, so you're very quick.
Right.
That's why he didn't duck down. Look, he's not interested in shooting an elephant.
Right.
Okay.
Nou miskien ek so lang staan en ek maak. Lang staan en maak Wat van Agwe? Agwe is klaar 1 kilometer van mij. Right, en als ik klaar, ik kijk voor het Agwe next. Als ik zie, hij is klaar weg, dan ik klaar.
Okay, so you run as quickly as you can from an elephant, and you don't worry about being quiet, because the elephant is not going to, it's heard you already, so you just go.
Right, now, nog 1. Right, ik loop.
Stop. Rhino. Rhino. Over there. Run.
Yeah.
Run.
Loop.
Stop.
Buffalo. Good. Over there. Run.
Yeah.
Buffalo is very, very dangerous.
Right.
Begriff San.
Nog 1. Zie, misschien 6 staan. Nou, ik kan niet uitzetten. Zal mij worden. Right. Ik kan het ook zien. Dan ik zie misschien ik bang voor hoor. Bij direct bang voor bij direct misschien ik ga een beetje korter en ik kan mij mooi zien. Nou, ik zie voor het ik loop.
Different noise. What's that sound like? Woodpecker.
Yeah.
So it's an animal that is used to hearing woodpeckers in a tree.
Yeah.
Let's think about what animal this is going to be. I'll
Right.
show you now.
Stop.
Something with small ears.
Monkey. I want a cheetah.
Groot kop.
Getting closer.
Lion.
Lion.
Leeuw. Kijk.
Okay.
Stop. Leeuw.
Lion.
Stadig.
Slowly we'll go.
Slowly.
Kijk. En het aan mijn klagen werd, als ik het gezegd, right. Ik kan hem zeggen, misschien niet voor ons. Ik kan niet zien, ons terug, weer. Right. Nou, als ons 2 draait terug, nou ik moet raas.
Doesn't want to make a noise with the lion.
Kijk, en
right?
daar is mijn waterbord, wat Mrs. nou gezegd van voor stress is. Dan leed
Got his ostrich egg on, and if he just runs, everything's going to clatter. So
Kijk,
he has to hold everything.
nou, dan moet je raas van. Kijk, zo. Kijk, en dan trek hem vast. En die beetje raas. En mijn zaak en mijn waterbord. En ik zie nou, ik bang voor hem. En ik krijg terug.
He's very scared, so he's going to go very quiet.
Kijk. En als ik draai terug, ik moet niet net draai terug en loop. Misschien de tijd wat ik terugdraai, je hebt mij gehoord en mij gezien dat ik ga. En nu we gaan erop en dan gaan van mij. Nu hou je zo.
Okay, guys, if the lion hears you, and as you're turning, you see that it's now aware that you're there, you don't turn and go. You've got to stand still.
Kijk, misschien ik draai in terug en ik loop en ik kijk voor hem. Loop, ik kijk voor hem. Loop. Kijk, en als ik loop, is Leeuw zien voor mij. Dan ik sta en draai terug en kijk voor Leeuw. Kijk.
Why is that, guys? Why do you face the lion if it's seen you?
You need to show that you're bigger than him.
You need to pretend you're not scared
Kijk.
and show that you're bigger than him, that you're not scared of the lion. Okay, because if it thinks you're scared, it's going to chase you straight away.
Right. Misschien ik zie voor hem, heb ik gezegd, kom bij mij. En Leeuw zien voor mij. Nou, ik ga een beetje arbeiden, ik sta zo, ik ga een beetje arbeiden, right? Ik ga een beetje arbeiden, ik is bijna bang voor Leeuw, right? Nou, ik ga een beetje arbeiden.
If you show,
Kijk, nou,
if you show your fear, guys, that's the end.
nou, ik heb gezegd, nee, je moet zo maken, right? Je moet niet, je gaat niet gewoon naar een beetje arbeiden, right?
You get close to your friend as quickly as you
Als
can.
je maakt zo, je wil vangen van je oor. Loop net, gewoon naar loop.
Walk normally, and you got your hand on your axe by that stage. That's what they would use. They wouldn't try and shoot it so much. If it's coming close and it's going to attack you, they would take the axe out.
Right. En nog 1 keer als je draait terug, je moet niet kijk bij Leeuw en loop. En kijk bij Leeuw en kijk niet daar waar je gaat.
Yeah, why not?
Ga.
Okay, if you're looking behind you all the time, you're going to run into a tree or walk into a tree. Hey, yes, guys.
If you were getting like stopped by a lion, if you kill it, what would you do with it?
Doodmaak, wat doen jy met die dier?
ons maak hom niks asof het hom doodgemaak. Ons sit hom en ons sit groot vuur. En ons maak hom brand.
You burn it.
Okay, ons los hom nie so. As jy los hom so met die aand, jong klaar dood met die aand, sy oog is leg. Okay, sy oog leg en ander leeu sien en kom.
Okay, what they're saying is that a lion, if you kill it, and its eyes stay open and they like lights, and they, in the San culture, they believe that other lions are drawn to that. So it's going to bring more lions. So you don't want to have more lions around, so you burn it straight away.
Sy veel, miskien hy maak sy veel, miskien jy is dom dan die maak sy veel met sy kombers. Nou jy sit met die kombers en ander leeu kom by die aan, jy sien en spring vir jou en vang vir jou.
Okay. He says that if you made a blanket out of it and other lions come, they would recognize the skin.
Ek dink is ander leeu en speer en spring vir jou dan.
Okay, they're going to jump on it. So I think they would really too scared to use anything from a lion because in case it's inviting the lion, other lions back.
Okay.
Okay.
My oupa het my gesê anders so. Nou hierdie konversie hierdie wat hulle lyk soos die dier.
Ja.
Ja. En daar was twee mense gegaan en die kom werk hierso en daar by ons is baie liefs nou die plek is baie ver en het geloop. En die son is nou sag. En sy kom ons slaap nou en maak groot vuur. Okay. En een hierdie kant en een hierdie kant. En een was hierdie pandag gepad. Okay. Nou, een het al gesê, maar nie die konversie. Dus ons is hierso, ek gebruik hem by die huis as ons kom. Nou sê, nee, my konversie is baie waarom. Gebruik hom. Nou, een sê, nou hy slaap, en hy het sy kind so gesê. Nou hy slaap, en as hy die tyd wat hy word die wakker, hierdie eerste binnen was wat sy reg het geslaap en hierdie ene boor. En nou hy sien ons, die tiere is naby by my, sit by my voete. Nou hy gaan, hy vat die panda. Nou hy gedink is die tier, nou hy kap sy knie. Nou het hy sy knie gekap, nou het hy met sy knie.
Guys, it's a story about a blanket that had straps, like a tiger straps, looked like a tiger. All right. And they were sleeping one night and two chaps together. I think, you need to correct me if I'm saying anything wrong here. And the one guy woke up in the night and he saw what he thought was a tiger in his place because of the skin, this tiger skin. And he took his panga and he cut it. But meanwhile, it was the guy sleeping with the tiger blanket. Am I right?